Akademiks can't ride no wave.
So, I guess we're better off trying to get like an update on this David situation, which I think it's like now, I think everybody, including me, are kind of confused about it because the dude ain't a suspect. The police clearly are allowing him to do things that if they thought he was a suspect, they would clamp down on. For example, why the hell would you allow him to basically throw out half of the stuff out of his apartment? Granted, you just did a search warrant on it. Now, granted, maybe you can't stop him necessarily, but it feels like them not incarcerating him is allowing him to do whatever he wants. Let's see. Police confirm David never killed anyone? What?
I didn't kill her physically, but in the back of my mind, she died.
When word first hit the block that 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body got discovered all decomposed in David's Tesla, no one believed him. But the feds just confirmed new evidence that clears David's name in the homicide case. And the new name they mentioned will change everything you thought you knew about this case.
Okay.
When the streets started talking and the evidence got real.
Okay. I think this is a little bit capped, so let me just go law and crimes. Because from what I've seen, they never cleared his name. So let me see if we can find.
So Steve, September 8th, authorities have not identified a suspect nor a person of interest. And to be clear, David has not officially been implicated in any wrongdoing or any crime, and law enforcement have not even come out with a definitive connection between the singer and Celeste. But I want to bring on right now Will Svilar, who's a retired detective commander. Will, thank you so much for taking the time. You and I haven't had a chance to talk about this case yet, as it's really in the news. It's continuing to develop. We're trying to understand what's happening behind the scenes. Since you and I haven't spoken, let me get your perspective. Why no arrest? Why not name any suspect? Why not name any person of interest at this point? It's been weeks now, and it's almost, what are we at? Almost a month, almost a full month since the body was found.
Well, one thing I want to be clear on is a crime has been committed. Now, and the crime is minimum, we call it in Illinois, desecration of a corpse or improper handling of a dead body. The girl was put in the trunk of a car, dismembered. Somebody did that. That's a crime. Now, the events leading up to her death and her actual cause of death still has to be determined. And without that, you're not going to get a murder charge. Unless somebody says it's a murder, and that's the medical examiner, you're not going to get a murder charge.
To couple that, we've talked about this extensively here on Sidebar, but I haven't talked to you about it. LAPD Captain Commanding Officer Scott M. Williams told People magazine, quote, "The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not determined a cause or manner of her death, so we don't know for sure if anyone has any criminal culpability for her death beyond the concealment of her dead body." Now, with that in mind, something I don't think we've talked about yet, is that Fox 11 LA, they spoke with a private investigator, Steve Fisher, who apparently got his hands on images of that car, the Tesla, that Celeste was found in. And remember, this car was apparently sitting there for weeks before it was towed to that tow yard, and then workers there smelled this foul odor and alerted authorities. But it was in the Hollywood Hills. Now, it could suggest she was in that trunk for that extended period of time, too. We don't know how long she was in the trunk per se, but her body was decomposed. Anyway, so Fisher says, quote, "The car almost looks like it's been off-road in the desert or something. The wheel wells are all beat up. There's a huge dent in the back. This could have been an overdose, and they panicked and hid her body because they didn't want to expose the relationship between her and the minor." And by the way, she was found one day after she would have turned 15.
That's unlikely because if you're trying to not get found out, why leave the corpse in your car?
With that in mind, you had mentioned that a crime has been committed. We're just not exactly sure how many crimes.
That's absolutely true. And that's correct. Everything we talk about now as far as cause of death is speculation until we have some science to back it up. When you talk about a crime, we talk about the concealment, the dismemberment, the desecration of the corpse. We also talk about a situation where if they can prove that there's some sort of relationship between a 14-year-old and a 20-year-old, that's a problem for him. Yeah, the age of consent in Illinois is 17. You can't give consent at 14 to be with an adult. There's another crime. That's like the backside of that is another crime. If the LAPD can come up with definitive proof that he was in fact involved in a relationship, he has another problem.
Let's analyze this a bit. What makes more sense to you? Someone panicked, put the body in the car, didn't have enough time to know what to do with it. The car was there for a long period of time though, so I don't know if that makes sense. Or we're purposely putting it in this car. We know it's registered to David. The car is near where the property he was renting was. There's an argument we're targeting David. I mean, what makes more sense to you?
Well, it's an awful elaborate scheme to target David by a rival or something along those lines, to do a murder and then steal his car and then put the body in the car. Now, he never reported this car stolen, so we don't know if there's an auto theft in that. That seems pretty elaborate to me. The girl dying of her natural causes is possible. A murder is definitely possible. And you say the car is found not far from where the house he was renting. The car has been evidence that it's been in the desert off the road. If I'm investigating...
All right, so it's kind of interesting because I'm starting to realize how quickly people get into conspiracy bag. And it's happened in many different situations. It's happening here with this David stuff. I see people doing it with the Charlie Kirk stuff. But essentially, people are floating with these ideas that maybe the dude didn't do anything. And this is either bad luck or maybe someone setting him up. I'm not going to go with that, but it is interesting to hear these guys kind of like ration it out.
I am trying to find a route from his home to where this body is found and see if there is any, like, you know, part of the out of the desert or an off-road area where maybe she dies or she's killed. They take her to that spot. They do what they do to her body, put it in the car, and then get rid of it and then ditch the car. So there's a lot of things that still have to be determined.
So if you're a fan of Sidebar, by the way, then you know we cover a lot of cases and we put out a lot of clips a day. Our producer, and I this whatsoever. I haven't seen a statement like that. Now, I'm not suggesting that he is. Again, he hasn't been officially implicated in wrongdoing, but would it be typical of police to say if he had absolutely no involvement in this whatsoever, and there's this whole cloud on a lot of public attention, I have to imagine they have more information than we do at this point. Would they come out and immediately, you know, clear him of anything?
It's case by case basis. I mean, if you absolutely know it's not him, you know that. But I can tell you that these detectives are operating on theories too. There's probably 2 or 3 different theories that they're operating under. And I think they're not giving that information that he's been cleared because they just don't know yet. They're still trying to figure out exactly what went down, what caused this girl's death. When we talk about persons of interest, it's kind of a weird statement to use or a weird way to depict somebody as a person of interest in a disappearance. Because the girl's been gone